Hi fashion lovers, in this video I'm going to show you the simplest and the easiest way to make a basic sleeve for both the short and the long sleeve. If you are ready, let's get started. To get started, you are going to be needing your shoulder to your bicep line. So this is how to take that measurement, shoulder to the bicep line. Mine is 5 inches. You are going to take your bicep circumference to where your arm is at the fullest. You want to take around that point, and then you take your other measurements like sleeve length, the round circumference, and others. So the next thing you want to do is to grab your pattern. Did you see? I'm going to be drafting the short sleeve first before we go over to the long sleeve. So let me write down the measurement you are going to be using. The bicep line, which is going to be the calf height, that is from the shoulder to the bicep. Mine is 5 inches. Then you also want to mark your bicep circumference, that is where your arm is at the fullest, which mine is 13 inches. And then you want to measure your shoulder to the elbow length for your sleeve. Mine is 12. Shoulder to the full length, mine is 23 inches. Then you measure your round circumference, your elbow circumference. Mine is about 10.5 inches or 11. So you want to also measure your wrist measurement, which is being taken like this. Did you see? You make sure your hand should be able to pass through. Did you see? Mine is like 9 inches. Did you see what I'm doing? That is how to take your wrist measurement. So you'll be able to like remove your hand. So mine is 9 inches. So the next thing now is to fold the pattern paper. We are drafting the front and the back pattern. Trust me, this is very easy to make. So the next thing is to mark 1 inch as the starting point line. This is my starting point line. Then I'll go ahead and mark my bicep line, that is shoulder to the bicep line. Mine is 5 inches, and I'll mark the length of the sleeve. So I'm using 8 inches as the length of the sleeve, since this is a short sleeve. Did you understand? This is a short sleeve. So this is the starting point. Let me just write shoulder line here. This is the bicep line. Did you see? Shoulder to the bicep line, which is called the calf height. And here is the length of the sleeve. The length of the sleeve I'm working with is 8 inches. It's a very short sleeve. So on the bicep line, you mark half of your bicep circumference. Mine is 13 divided by 2 will give me 6.5. And from that point where you mark your bicep line, you want to make a slanted line towards the starting point. Did you see? Towards the starting point, like so. Did you see that? When you are done making the slanted line, so I'm taking my time to explain this. Whatever you have on this part, you want to mark on the other part for you to get your back sleeve. So the front sleeve is a bit a bit different from the back sleeve, just a bit different. So you want to like measure the slanted line. Did you see? Like this, measure it and get the midpoint. So this is the midpoint, like half of that line. So the best way to do it is, take your tape and put it on this to get the half of your measurement. Did you see? So this is the midpoint. Then you want to like go ahead and get the midpoint of the first half. Did you see what I'm doing? Get the midpoint of the first half. Trust me, this process is very simple. And then also get the midpoint of the second half. Did you see it? Get the midpoint of the second half like this. So that is how we're going to be making that curve. On the upper part here, come up by 0.5 inch. And from the down part here, come up by 0.375. So this is what 0.375 means. So from here you come up by half an inch, and from the down part come up by 0.375. So you are connecting from this point. Try to make the curve to meet the 0.5, and you are skipping the middle point. Did you see? And you are connecting towards like this. So Please, I'll try to explain this again. The middle point, you are skipping the middle point, is on the middle point of the first half that we raised by 0.5, and the middle point of the second half we came down by 0.375. Please take note of that. So I'm trying to use this curve to like blend it. You can actually use your hand. I think I prefer my hand because this is a pattern and I'm teaching. That is why I'm using a curve. I prefer using my hand, to connect it. Whichever one works for you, please just go ahead and do that. So this is what I have. We're going to still use this to we're going to use it to check our main basic bodies to make sure everything aligns. So this is the back. So on the bicep line here, which is here, you also want to, mark your half of your bicep circumference, and from there connect a slanty line. Did you see, to the sleeve head? And then you want to get the midpoint of this slanty line like we did for the front. I'm taking my time to explain this so you won't be confused. For the second half, you want to get the midpoint. Did you see? And the first half, you want to also get the midpoint. So from the midpoint of the first half, we are going to raise up by 0.25. For the front, we came up by 0.5. For the back, we are coming up by 0.5, by 0.25. So for the down parts now, that is the midpoint of the second half, we came down by 0.5. So that's the difference for the front and the back. For the front, we came up by 0.5. For the back, we are using 0.25 for the midpoint of the first half and the midpoint of the second half. Then you want to go ahead and connect your curve. So I will just use my marker pen to highlighting the curve that I have made. So this is the difference between the front and the back part. So this is beautiful. So when you open it up, this is what you are going to have. Isn't this beautiful? So this is how to make a perfect sleeve for yourself. So on the length of my sleeve, I want to mark half of my circumference around there, like my arm circumference around there, and then I will mark half of it. Before I connect, I would like to check my pattern paper. This is my basic bodies. So for the basic bodies, the front sleeve, I want to measure what I have on the armhole there. I'm going to use it to measure on the shoulder, on the sleeve. So what I have on the armhole for the basic bodies is 8.25, but on the sleeve I have 8.5. Did you see? I have 8.5, meaning that the sleeve has 0.25, that the sleeve is 0.25 longer than the basic bodies. So I'll go ahead and remove that 0.25 before connecting. So you just want to check it with your basic bodies. That might be difference, maybe around 0.25 or half an inch. So I'll also check the back. So I have the back armhole as the 8.5 and I have the sleeve as 8.5. So the back is okay. The back measurement matches with the armhole on the basic bodies. So I'll go ahead and connect. But for the front, the sleeve was 0.25 longer than the armhole, and I've gone ahead to remove that 0.25 and then went ahead to connect. This is very easy and simple. So using this method will help you to be able to align your pattern. You'll be able to align it so that by the time you are joining it, it will be perfect. Note that this sleeve does not have the sewing allowance. When you are cutting on your fabric, you can go ahead and add your necessary sewing allowance. So this is what we have for our short sleeve pattern. So this is the front. You have to take note of that, and this is the back. So we're going over to the long sleeve pattern now. So I've marked my shoulder to bicep line, my shoulder to the elbow, and the shoulder to the full length of my sleeve. On your bicep line, you mark half of your bicep circumference. Did you see that? So I'm going to take out a bit of excess for people that have slimmer arm and people that used to have excesses around their sleeve. but for now let's just concentrate on the upper part. We are also just the way we did for the front. You make a slant line, get the midpoint. This is me trying to explain this for the second time for the sake of people that do not get it from the basic from the short sleeve. Get the midpoint of your line and then get the midpoint of the first half and the midpoint of the second half. For the front, you go up by 0.25 here and go down by 0.375, and then you want to make a curve. Did you see? You can use your hand if you don't have a curve, or if you are comfortable with your hand, you can use your hand to connect the curve like this. If you're making use of the curve, this is how you're going to place your curve to connect that point. Did you see that? So you want to go ahead and blend it out like this. So when I'm done, this is what I have. So your sleeve might not look like mine because I'm on a slim side. So the next thing is on the elbow line, you mark half of your elbow circumference, and on the wrist you mark half of your wrist measurement. Mine is 9 inches, and then you want to go ahead and connect like this. And then you also connect this part as well. Then for people that have a slimmer arm, like the not people that have bigger arms, this does not apply for plus size. You can just use your curve ruler to curve out this part just to have a fitted sleeve pattern. Just to have a fitted sleeve pattern. This is for people that have slimmer arm, or people that usually have excess after cutting out their sleeve. You can just go ahead and curve in this part towards the bicep to the elbow line to remove that excess that you used to have. I'll just use my marker pen to like highlighting this curve that I made around here. This is for people that have slimmer hand that want a more fitted sleeve around that region. You want to like curve this in. Did you see? So this is what you will have. So for me, I normally use that curve part for me. Then this is how you do it. You divide this point by 2. Then you go inward by 0.25 or half an inch and then connect. In case you don't have curve ruler to curve this out, just get the midpoint of this side, go inward by 0.25 or half an inch, which is the highest. Then you go ahead and curve this in. So this is how to get that perfect part without having excess around there. So this is the back part. We are going to also, just the way we did for the front, we're also doing the same for the back. Get the midpoint of this slanted line, get the midpoint of the first half like this, and get the midpoint of the second half like this. Then go up from the first half, the middle of the first half by 0.25, and the middle of the second half come down by 0.25, and then go ahead and connect your curve. So after I was done, this is what I have. Did you see? This is what I have. This is very beautiful. So if you have learned something from today's video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Please don't forget to like this video and share it as well. If you have not yet subscribed, please do well to subscribe. So if I'm cutting my sleeve pattern, I use the curve part of the sleeve to, I don't use this one. I use the curve part, but it's just for people that have a slimmer arm around that point. So this is the long sleeve pattern. And we have come to the end of today's class. Please give me a thumbs up. This is the short sleeve and this is the long sleeve. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.